what's going on, everybody? Sorry we're a little bit late. We're getting everything squared away so we can enjoy this Sunday show. It's going to be an interesting one. We have plenty of early people. I know Darren
Definitely
was seeing
is.
some people was in here. Frank, as always, my man Brian Heathen Hatchery. Oh, JNS, what's going on?
Yes.
Oh, my man, Volcanic Constrictor is out there by you.
Oh
Uh,
yes. And I remember we talked a few
yeah,
times. We talked a few
he's
times.
super excited. He just got him a rat too, so he's off and running now. So I'm
Hey,
very
there was
proud.
another one that's up for sale, like a FB. It's a FB 20 3320,
Yeah,
and a dude was letting it go for $1,300.
I tell you, man, this is the time. If you have if you have these hobbies, it don't always have to be full blown business how we're trying to run. But if you have these hobbies, this is the time to really get what you need, get what you want, and I mean, it's almost pennies on the dollar for a lot of this stuff out there. KND, what's going on?
Uh,
Hey, if you guys missed the episode with K and D, Corey is
Very good
awesome.
episode.
Go support that, watch it, go follow her and her dad. They're awesome. Extremely, extremely
Doing
awesome.
it up.
Big time. And then Audrey's in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button.
Low
Absolutely.
Audra.
Yeah, clowning around pythons. We got to get you on as well. I've been watching him online as well on Instagram and on YouTube. Plenty of great, great energy. Doing some interesting pairings. I would love to see his direction on where he wants to go with things. All City Serpents, what's going on? Ro, the fam, the bro. We got to
Ooh.
bring him on again. We got to get him on. I want to hear a little bit more about those chondros.
Oh yeah, and he's on the network.
Oh yeah, you know it. You know it. Mission Morse. Shout out.
Uh,
Wow, you guys really be funneling in really early. We try to pride ourselves with being on time, man. But it's all good because this is going to be a very interesting one because this channel is not only about doing interviews with established breeders. Some people are established even at smaller numbers. I remember actually Darren had a pretty small following when we made our connection, but I mean, he was already really established already. You had what, like 5, 6 racks already? Maybe what,
nah, you know what?
2,000 people
Uh,
following?
I had the three
Yeah,
racks,
three
and then I
racks.
went to getting more of the
But he had
FB4.
already, and he already had your whole rodent room, or you started your rodent room, but you had your
Yeah,
snake room and everything already rocking and rolling. So you got a lot of people that's approaching it from, and there's no offense he'll admit it to, but from a hermit crab type of mindset where you just kind of in your own
man,
space, knocking everything out and just rocking out that way.
just doing it.
Definitely happy you could make it as well. Definitely you could see it, and interact with us and our guest Clarence, from first person's perspective. Eric B, No Rock Kim. Definitely go check him out. He's on everybody's lives.
Yeah,
Got a great opportunity to kind of interact with him over on Keys when they had their auction. Shout out to Bosa and Diane. Everything they're going through with cancer and everything. Definitely, Bosa supports everybody, and it was really cool to see everybody kind of show up and support him as well. He didn't ask for it or anything, and Keys really stepped up to the plate. We had like 150 people participating in that auction the other night. It was really cool.
mhm.
Really cool. Serpent Nerd, what's going on? Yeah, try to make it through so we could bring our guests on. He's going to talk to us because guess what? He's very busy, and he made sure he made time to make sure that he was going to get on this platform.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Clarence. Hey,
What's
bro.
going on, man? How everybody feeling, man?
Pretty
Man, it's a
good.
wonderful day. We on the right side of the earth.
All right. Again,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just reiterate. I'm currently at work, so you got to forgive the background. I'm a traveling veterinarian, so service Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia. So I'm traveling right now. Getting some work in, taking care of some animals. You know.
That's wow. I
How
wish
long
you
have
was
you
in
been
our
doing that?
area because we could make you our vet.
Yeah, Eddie, I would love it, man. I would have loved it. Maybe
Man.
I can get down that way one day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tell us a
yeah.
little bit about that. So first, how'd you come up with your brand, Mor-phor-us?
Mor-phor-us. Believe it or not, it took me about a year worth of thought. Before I decided I settled in on that name. I wanted something that said more than just ball pythons.
Right.
I got an end game beyond just the snake breeding. So I wanted a brand name that would be able to expand just as far as I would, and then I wanted a brand name that kind of told a story about what I was about, and more for us.
Right.
That's what I'm about. I'm about the industry. I'm about building the industry. Um, if the industry go up, I win automatically.
That's right.
So I don't have to focus on competing against other breeders. I can just focus on competing against myself. So my only competition is my creativity.
True.
You know?
It should always be that
Mhm.
way. Just level
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
as you go. You know.
Big time.
How long have you been
yeah.
doing this?
So, uh, well, I've been into reptiles all my life. Man, my father was a big reptile guy, and he introduced me to it. Man, I mean, far as back as I can remember, up in Baltimore where I live, we used to have a snake house that was part of the Maryland Zoo, and he would take me there every weekend. And by the time I was like about 4 years old, man, I could name every snake by sight, you know. So I've always had this passion for reptiles, and but it wasn't until later on in life, actually approximately 3 years ago, that I actually learned about the ball python breeding industry. And I
Okay.
said to myself, like, man, how in the world did I not know about this? You
Especially
know?
if your dad was into reptiles, like
Yeah, yeah. I was like, how did I not know?
I'm
Um,
just telling you, you lucky. you
yeah,
lucky. You know how it
yeah.
is.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, man. I feel like I just not to get all spiritual or anything, but I feel like God led me to this.
Right.
As a kid growing up, I always said when I grew up, I wanted to be an artist, a scientist, or a zoologist, which was
Right.
kind of not that common probably for a kid growing up in Baltimore City, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
But somehow, some way, I'm doing all three. You know, when I found this, I realized, man, it's all three. We working with living art. You got to understand the genetics. That's your science and the animals. So they'll go use zoology right there, right? Um,
Right.
Yeah.
and having a lot of background experience with labs, doing lab work, working in microbiology, histology. I've done like intraoperative blood transfusion type stuff. Um, it allowed me to be familiar with genetics and all the terminology, so it wasn't real hard for me to adapt. You
Okay.
know, yeah, my learning curve was kind of short. You know,
Understood. So
yeah.
being a traveling vet, now, we've had to deal with veterinarians, over the years. Are you on the exotic side, or just your personal reptile side helps you with the exotic side, and you do mostly veterinarian, straight veterinarian?
So I would say probably 90% is cats and dogs,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
The other 10% would be what we would consider exotics. So
Okay.
we like ferrets, small mammals. We actually microchip snakes.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's the thing because Wilbanks offers that to microchip your snake because I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
some
yeah. So
counties or
I
states
think
you
that's
have
an
to have it
interesting
exempt.
direction that we're probably going to start going in, especially
yeah,
with testing and
yeah.
knowing
I put
that.
a lot of thought into it. I mean, I'm grateful that we don't have like a big enough problem in our industry that we would really need that.
We will.
Uh, but when when thinking about high end snakes,
Right.
if so happen a sunset clown happens to walk away from your table, you could kind of distinguish which one belongs to you. You know,
Right.
So
so
Absolutely.
I think Wilbanks he told a story about that because he started microchipping, but he was dealing with the guy that he was shipping it out of the country. I
Hmm.
think he said
uh,
that, and then that guy ended up taking those animals. They were supposed to be cool, or whatever, but because he was able
mhm,
to identify them from chipping, he was able to get his
yeah,
animals back.
yeah. So it may very much be a future market in that.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
this is it's a young industry. it's a lot of room for a lot of growth in this industry because we're a young industry. I mean, you compare us to a lot of other industries and all of the accessorizing things that they're doing to help that industry. You know, it's so much room for us.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's doors we haven't even knocked on yet. You know,
Yeah,
and
we
hopefully
have.
I'll knock on some of them for us.
That's wow.
You know,
So let me ask you right now, because I guess price points when you microchip your snakes, what are they roughly around?
for the cost of the microchip.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cost of the microchip is fairly inexpensive, about $33 to $35.
Oh wow.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, microchips are. I think it may get a little more expensive once we're able to kind of incorporate GPS technology with them.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
for right now, with just the recording and displaying the information, they fairly inexpensive because they've been around for a while.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
even if you're spending $50 to add the GPS, I mean that's not bad at all. Because
At
it don't even
all.
Yeah,
matter
cool,
now.
cool.
You pull up my phone and be like, oh, I can see him walking right down the street right now.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you got a $60,000, DG Exantic clown, $50 to make sure you know where it's at, starts not to seem too big of a deal. You know,
Absolutely. Not even just that, just kind of taking it one step further, as a new breeder and getting into some serious projects, like you said, $5,000, $10,000 snakes, 20, whatever it may be. I mean, you get one of those guys and you microchip them and you do the shed testing and you do all these things where you can correspond all this data information and put it in a nice presentation to now your buyer. And now they know the snake that you gave them corresponds with the same ID number. Same ID number corresponds with the same
exactly.
shed. Everything is literally in their, in their playing field for them to kind of validate their purchase, evaluate their seller,
Yeah,
as far as the
yeah.
authenticity, especially when you haven't been in the
Oh
game.
man.
You talking about it, it's like it's kind of leveling the playing field a little bit,
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm gonna tell you, man. We could probably have a 3 hour conversation about all the things that we can think to do to
Right.
add to this industry to make it easier on either the breeder side or the buyer side. You know, it's like I say, it's a young industry. It's so much room for us to bring new tools and new events and just new ways of doing things to make things more efficient, more effective. Um, we could probably go on forever discussing some of these things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a
Big time.
few of them I got to work. I don't want to kind of talk about it prematurely, but
Mhm.
it's some aspects that other industries carry that would be a great benefit to our industry. We're trying to and hopefully within the next year or so, I can discuss more about it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Darren was in the dog game. I was in the dog game
Yep.
too, a long, long time ago. And
It was about the same price. You
yeah,
were about
it
what,
was. Yep.
35 $35?
Yeah,
It
Yep.
was between 20 and 35 from what I remember. Not that
But
bad.
you know the funniest thing about it, even way back when they probably had, at that point, thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of dogs with, being
Yeah.
microchipped. And they didn't think to, GPS it at that time, which is interesting.
nah,
And
yeah, yeah,
huge. Everybody was getting, dogs taking out your yards and all
Oh
kinds of stuff.
man,
yeah,
that
Yeah,
was real.
yeah,
yeah.
that's wild.
So,
Especially if they're
So
so
young.
them dollar points, I mean, price points, them dogs, man, they're still sky high.
You had
yeah,
guard
yeah,
dogs for your
yeah.
dogs. It was
I got
crazy.
a partner. Man, shout out. Matter of fact, my man Terrence from T-Rex Reptiles.
Right.
Um, he does the Frenchies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, back when I was younger, I dabbled around with the pit bulls, but
Right.
Yep. The
it went
bulls is
nowhere near with the Frenchies took it to.
Oh,
They took it to a whole nother level.
yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
Frenchies right now. I think that's the number one breed, isn't it? Right now,
Pretty
And
much with
see,
the
I
exotic.
wouldn't be surprised.
most common
With
Yeah.
breed.
the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
He's
know
probably
that
daddy.
like a Marable, yeah, a Marable is running around like 6 to 8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Merle Frenchie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know what? And if you look in AKC, that's a flaw. That is a flaw gene.
Yeah,
It's
it
not even
is.
on their
yeah,
list. You can't
It
even
is.
show a dog with the Moro.
yeah.
It's so
Well, hey,
crazy.
if you think about it, we all dealing with genetic mutations, you know?
Right.
Yep. Everybody,
Yeah.
everybody, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You know,
even with the dogs, they can tell you what genes that dog carries. If it carries the Moro gene, the lilac gene, and it will tell you the percentage
yeah,
too,
Right.
yeah,
the percentage of producing it. Which
Yeah.
when I was
yeah.
in it, we didn't have none of that. People were just breeding just to see the parents behind it and figure it out that way.
Plus, I mean, if you go deeper down that line, I mean, a lot of them high dollar exotics, because we have actually exotics as well. But the high dollar exotics, I mean, a lot of that, you got to kind of put them in a cart, roll them around, baby them, because if they walk more than 20 feet, they're exhausted and laying down. Or functionality thing is
Yeah,
always
yeah,
so it's kind of almost a little backwards.
yeah, yeah. And some drawbacks, and some
Yeah,
drawbacks with certain genetics and other animals.
it's
I
a
guess
lot.
we,
It's
we
a
kind of
lot.
we kind of experienced the same thing with the ball pythons, with like the head wobble and
Yep.
shark's mouth and things like that. That
Genetic genetic traces
yeah,
from the banana. You're saying,
Right.
hey, the
yeah,
banana got a male
But I
maker and
don't
all
think
that
I
other
don't
good
think
shit.
we've seen it as deep as the dogs, because it's almost. I mean, there
nah,
was a time when the Lamborghinis came back and they had, or they never really left, but they had these replica kits, so you could go get you a Honda and put a
yeah,
replica
yeah, yeah.
and have it
Yeah, I
looking.
remember
I
that.
mean, that's kind of the old school dog game. It's like, why are you spending all this money? when you don't
Yeah,
want it? But people want what they want. That's what it is.
exactly,
That's what it
exactly. Yeah,
is.
but the same way like with the dog industry, I mean, it's a lot older than the ball python industry. But
Right.
as we've seen, even in that, how the progression occurred throughout the industry with things that they discovering, new
Mhm.
technologies being added in, and how it's progressing that industry. And I
Right.
just feel the same way about owls. That man, we got so much room in front of us for that type of progression.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You will.
And even when you look at the funnel, that you're in, that's why when people spoke about, everybody doing ball pythons, I don't really look at it so negatively. I
Mhm.
think it's actually more positive right now than anything. I think it's a prime opportunity really to get into ball pythons because there's so many different genes. There's people who have genes in their collection that they don't even know they have. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get everybody to go out there and coin your own gene, but the point is, a gene is going to be genetic at some point. It's going to reveal
Mhm.
itself. But it's just like these recessives. Think about the direction we're already. I don't want to say going in. I want to say we're already in. People out there, they got triple recessive visuals, triple, or quad visuals.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to have an extensive collection in a double visual recessive. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very,
It
very
takes
difficult.
it takes time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
Mhm.
time. So even if you have 20 different, recessives out there, and you go out there, you pick two kind of to focus in. Once we're 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, and you have new people with showing interest into, different
Mhm.
projects, that new buyer needs to be so specific with where they want to go. They're going to kind of gravitate toward the breeders that are working with what they like. And at that point,
Exactly.
you're not going to have everybody working a specific, hypo DG clown or whatever it
Yeah.
may be,
Yeah.
so people are kind of gonna, make their own lane for their clientele, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, no,
I can
that's
go with
that's
that
I
that
would say
way.
that's spot on.
Yep.
If you look at let's just use the shoe industry, right? The
Yep.
tennis shoe industry. I
Hmm.
mean, we got tons and tons and tons of different brands of tennis shoes, right? But people pick what brand they want based on their specific needs and
Right.
their specific likes. And it's going to be the same thing in this industry.
Yep.
Not everybody is an Xanthic fan. Not
Yep.
everybody is a DB fan, as hard as some may find that to
Oh,
believe.
oh,
Um, so people are going to gravitate towards those genes that they like, and because we have such a vast
Variety.
variety, um, it leaves a lot of room for individual perceptions and individual likes about what it is that they want and what projects that they can work. And the bigger we can make this industry, what happens is on the back end, it allows for that person who's working that particular project to now build a following for that project. So, for instance, lavender albinos, my favorite gene. Is not the most popular one, but it attracted me.
Right.
So the people who were working that project, obviously, they caught my attention. Now, the more people we bring in on the back end, that means that that breeder who may have at one time didn't have a vast or a mass market to market to now has it, you know?
Yep.
And I mean, I think that's one of the beauties of this industry is that it has a whole matrix of how any breeder could come in and be very specific to themselves about what they like, what they want to work with, what projects they want to go into, and still have enough people to create a following for that project.
Right.
So I mean, it's a unique opportunity, and it's a blessing for us, you know, especially on the business side of things. You know, it's a blessing.
Coming through the door, you got to kind of be careful, and it's only an opinion, but be careful, like who, not necessarily you're talking to. Talk to everyone, but be careful who you ask. What gene should I get into? That's kind of
I agree with you on that.
As much information about all the genes as you can, and then kind of look at different combos. See what draws your attention. See if you like darker genes, lighter genes. See if you like certain patterns. What do you gravitate to? Because what ends up happening is, guess what? You got to figure out that once you come to the conclusion that every customer is not your customer, you'll understand a little better. Because it's like okay, trying to win over a field with a very small collection. I don't care if it's 500 snakes; it's still a drop in a bucket compared to the entire market. So, if you're producing snakes year after year that you don't enjoy looking at, you're gonna be in the world. You're gonna be in trouble.
I 100% agree with you. We know that there's various different types approaches to this thing, you know, as far as what it is that you want to get out of it, what it is that you want to invest into it, and what part of this industry you want to be a part of, right? I believe that when a person first coming into this industry, and I mean, I'm including myself into this here statement, you got to go through this kind of learning curve of getting past your own excitement about things, right? And then allowing things to slow down for you. Most times when we come in, it's the excitement is what we see, right? So you see combos, you see snakes, and they're beautiful to you. And you thinking to yourself, I want one of those, or I want to make one of those, you know, and that's enough for you. That satisfies you. And as time goes on, and you become, if you choose to become a breeder, if you choose to become more of a business person in this industry, you may realize that some of those combos that excited you isn't exciting as you thought they were.
Right.
You know, when I first came in, a bumblebee was like the beautifulest thing that ever happened to me.
It's crazy because it's still beautiful. I agree with you.
Yeah. But then as I grew, right, my understanding grew. As I started to learn more, I realized what the value of it was as an animal for investment, right? So it kind of took some of the excitement away from me, you know.
So but what made you get into lavender first?
Honestly, for me, I felt that lavender was an easily marketable gene because you end up with something that you didn't start out with.
Right.
So you're getting more than what your money paid for, right? You start off with one thing and you get to watch it progress into this other thing, right? And in my mind at that time, I felt like, well, I can market that, you know? Like people like getting more for the money, you know? If I tell you, hey, look, I can sell you this snake. This snake is a beautiful snake as is. It's just yellow and white. But in the future, it's now going to become a yellow and lavender purple or lilac purple snake. Yeah. And I just felt like it was a marketable approach in that. Then later on, it grew into it was a project that I felt like still had a whole lot of room for growth. And me personally, I'm one of those breeders. I want to do something that nobody done. You know, I love the excitement of exploring these projects.
Right.
Not necessarily producing things that's going to be economically good. I feel like if you explore these projects, if you make good decisions, if you very much consider what the market is about, what the market is demanding, maybe not necessarily making your decision based on those things, but consider those things, that you can pursue projects in a way where you're kind of front running things, and yet still at the same time be very successful in marketing and selling your animals.
Right.
We see it with Justin. Justin creates hell of combinations that we've never seen before, and his byproducts are very marketable, and they sell very well.
Right.
And I guess you could say that I have a similar mindset, where I'm very interested. Sorry about that sun glare,
No problem.
but I'm very interested in these animals. First to say, I'm an artist. You know, I'm actually just an artist by talent,
Mm-hmm.
with graphite pencil. I do use various other mediums of art, such as pastel chalks and things of that matter. But as an artist, that's very much how I see these animals as brushes. You know, each gene is like a brush within itself. You know, and I get to create these amazing living artworks. You know, so I love to explore that, just to push my own creativity, push my own imagination, try to see things that nobody ever saw before. I mean, my first hatching was a world first. I mean, I don't say that with as if it's so meaningful, because we actually do it a lot now.
Right.
But I say that because my thought process in that pairing was, I want to do something that hasn't been done.
Right.
You know,
I like
I
that
want to
process.
see what I haven't seen. You
I
know,
like
you
that.
know,
And we tend to do the similar thing. We like to kind of stretch out, push out the vision a little bit,
mhm.
adding one, two genes, things that maybe we haven't seen yet. Or, taking something, and again, with respect to everybody's projects, but taking something, what's the latest one? Or let's say a Batman, we're taking a Batman and okay, I like it, but I want to do X, Y, and Z to it. I don't like
Yeah,
it just sitting where it is. I want to add one or two and work with furthering it with my own little twist on it. So we take different projects like that, and you kind of elaborate, you evolve it into the next thing. The Pompeii,
exactly.
that and say, okay,
Yeah,
the problem with some of it, with some of the simple genes, you're gonna hit them quick. And we saw it with the Batman. So everybody
yeah,
went crazy, 2 years ago when we were getting in Batman, and I think they look awesome. But it's very
yeah,
true. Once you have leopard into the clown, and you have
Yeah.
spot nose there, okay, you change the color a little bit, but for the most part, I think everyone would agree. Once you got leopard in clown and you throw other genes, it still look like a Batman. Still gonna look like a Batman with a little bit of a twist on it.
yeah,
Really.
What are you going to do? But it's still really cool to have it as the base female that kind of start from,
exactly,
kind of
exactly.
just level up. It doesn't make you kind of discontent with the project. It's just where you want to take it. I think people put themselves into a funnel with a lot of the projects, and it's because you're not looking at it with consideration, not purpose, but with consideration to marketability.
Yeah, yeah.
We and I don't want to make it seem like disrespect, but bells are beautiful snakes. You have an
Uh-huh.
absolutely beautiful snake. There's nothing wrong with that. We have one or two, but the issue as a breeder, It's like, okay, in my opinion, for us, that doesn't mean anything for anyone else. It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
If we plan, because we love the Bell to produce, even at our level, 20 of them, let's say from, 3 clutches. I mean, you'll probably have them Bells for quite some time because there's a lot of people in that lane marketing that.
Exactly.
And, you may see that in the present day for whatever the value may be, $400, which it isn't right now, but let's say it's $400. Well, guess what? In a year, it's going to be $200 or $150. And you got to understand that the people that you're selling a very easy to replicate project, they're buying it because they like it, and then they can now in one season reproduce the same exact thing. So you're going to put yourself in a spot where now you may be a little disgruntled or discontent because you may have moved 100 Bells last season, and now this season you have 200 Bells, but you've only sold 25. And you're like, what do I do? It's difficult.
Well, that's the same for anything that's double recessive, right?
Right, absolutely.
People were just grabbing the double recessive. If I take it to that same double recessive, I could create that. So that's why you had the big boom in the dreamsicle. Boom.
Yeah.
People bought visuals. They got into the visuals, and then they turned around and started taking visual to visual. Within 2 years, we have a bunch of dreamsicles out there.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and that was if I can call it the primitive method in this industry. In the early parts of this industry, it was about mass reproduction. And then, guys like Kevin McCurley, guys like Justin, discovered that, we can compound these genes and create combos, right? And manipulate the pattern. We can manipulate the coloration, and so on and so on. And so the industry evolved. Not everybody evolved with it. Not everybody came along. Some people still got the mindset of, I'm gonna find what's good, what's marketable, and just sell it to it isn't.
Pretty much.
Not knocking them. If that is what works for you, if that's what you're strong at and you're good at, then I would advise you do what you're good at. Not everybody's going to come from the same angle, but yeah, that's just not my angle. I'm not interested in mass producing anything, regardless of how valuable it is.
That changed too, because we went through the phases of incomplete dominance. Let's stack those to making mud. Okay, now we got a little bit of clown and pie in there. Let's see what combos we can make out of clown and pie, and just moving and so forth. Now, okay, we got to the point we're going double recessives. Now it's triple recessive, quad recessives. What's next after we done at it? Pretty much whatever incomplete dominance.
And a lot of those combos don't even have no codoms in them.
Right.
It's just a triple or double recessive quad. We haven't had even a chance to get codoms into those big recessive combos. So it's just it's so much room.
We're starting to add some of those in. Some people are making those quad recessives and they're starting to add those incomplete dominance into it. We're at the beginning stages, I think, of that.
Exactly. But the one thing I would say is, and it's something that was said earlier about the base collection. I think sometimes we don't put as much importance on your base collection as we should.
Absolutely.
Your base collection will dictate your ability to get into a project and be successful in that project, or get into a project and lag in that project. And I think sometimes, it's just my personal belief, sometimes that's not being considered when people jump into projects, and then they get into that project and realize that they're at the ass end of it. And so they're having hard times with, moving the way other people move that's in the front of that project, and they get frustrated. They lose patience.
I'll add on to things. You got to understand also.
A lot of people stagnant. They do not. They stick with the project, try to keep creating. And I'm one of those people that do that because I wanted to do it, right? I wanted to prove it to myself, but
Yeah.
they're not leveling up by, okay, I didn't create it this year. Let me level up and grab it the next year. You know what I'm saying? Or if
Right.
somebody
Yeah.
produced it, let me grab that, because then that'll put me ahead in that project. And keep on leveling up. If you don't hit it, buy it.
Right. Oh yeah. It's a must
But when
that you
they
do it
don't,
that way. You got
that's
to.
where you get
Yeah.
left behind in the project.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
buy,
You got to think about
crash
that, or
and burn.
you will get left.
Yeah, or you
You
crash
will
and
get left.
burn. We have a lot of people. We try not to do it either. Like, okay, you buy into something, you work it, and maybe what you bought you love. It's a crazy
Yeah.
time, cool, but then certain things that's maybe it's a lilac or whatever it may be, but the gene that it consistently throws, you don't love, and then now you're
Yeah.
finding yourself kind of gravitating away from it. It's fine to
Mhm.
make corrections to say, for your for yourself, just personal
Yeah.
adjustment, because a lot of people
Exactly.
just crash and burn. They're like, they're telling themselves like, I don't really like that, but I'm gonna tell myself I love it and just keep work. No, if you don't like
Yeah.
something, just
Yeah.
make
Be honest.
corrections.
It's a lot. It's a lot more genes out there you can replace
Right.
things with.
Right. But the thing is,
So I
especially in
mean,
hobby, I know, with a wife like mine, you're like, you tell that, and shit like, I told you shouldn't have spent that money on it, but if you don't want to kind of deal with that at that moment, so I can understand the thought process that can kind
yeah.
of come about,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
hobby and something you're having fun with. And then you kind of face an issue where branding.
Most definitely.
Branding is kind of crucial. If you can't put yourself out there during the process, this growth process, then you'll find, what you're paying for said project, it only ends up being kind of a portion of what you can kind of get on return for that
I'm trying
project.
to get somewhere where I isn't so much sun glare.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. But
All
where
right,
you
there
can
we
get
go. I
return.
think
So
we're good.
single gene, whatever, you buy it
Mhm.
for, $500 or whatever it may be, and then you come around where you're producing it, but you didn't do the legwork on your own branding and business or to
Yeah.
increase reach, and you're finding that you can't even reach the customer that needs that, and you find yourself
Exactly.
moving it for half the price of what it is because you didn't do your own due diligence, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes great. That makes perfect sense. I think we see that a lot where we get people working with red genes,
Yeah.
some of the newer genes,
Hmm.
and like you say, they don't do that due diligence of working that gene before they try to market it.
Right.
Um, Part of this industry, it does have some psychological aspects because we're talking about sales,
Hmm.
and then we're talking about art, which is very subjective, is beauty in the eye of the beholder, right?
Absolutely.
So, when you're dealing with, and it's just, again, my personal perspective, my personal perception, when you're dealing with things like that, sometimes you got to convince people that it's something that they like.
Absolutely.
You got to show them what it is about that should be liked,
Mhm.
before people will like it,
Yeah.
right? So, like myself, I'm currently working with the Pixel Gene.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's not many people working with it. We know that Justin is Justin's Gene, and he kind of was the initiator of getting it going, but it's 15 years now,
Yeah.
and he got so much going on that he just don't have the time to dedicate to working that gene.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him about it, and he said it even on his video. The Pixel got a cheerleader, but it don't have a champion.
Right.
You know, and I told him, I said, well, look, I'll be your Pixel guy. You know what I mean? I'll be that champion. Because I seen in the gene a uniqueness.
Hmm.
It was like finding that new paintbrush that you never seen before, and I was like, man, it's a lot that could be done with this. Like we have yet to see, you know, what this gene can really offer us in our combinations. And
Oh,
it's little things that I've seen that I really like, that really gave me the belief of its potential. Um, it's a granite gene. It's not as strong as some granite genes, and it's not as weak as others. right? It kind of fall in the middle. So it just really attracted me, and I was like, man, I want to work it. I
How
want to
long
work
you
it.
been making Pixel?
It's only been a year now,
Okay.
right? So right now, I'm trying to get it into some codoms that we never seen before. Get
Okay.
it matched up with some codoms we never seen before. You know, get study it. Right now that's what I'm doing. I'm studying the gene. I want to see what it does, how it interacts and reacts to other genetics, right? Because then that'll tell me a story of what I can do with it.
Absolutely.
It'll start giving me, get my little wheels turning of, okay, might want to get that into this combination. This effect is what I've been looking for that combination. You know, so it's very much about studying that gene first, which it takes work.
Hmm.
Because I mean, you're producing animals that you're not really intending to sell.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and it takes time. It takes time.
I'm
You got to
happy
be
to hear
very
you say that.
selective.
I'm happy to hear
Yeah,
you say that because I didn't really get the approval to kind of put their stuff out there, but we actually got hit up by a smaller breeder, and they had a question because they had a finite amount of space. We always preach infrastructure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
so excited about getting something of their own. And they, message and I, give them our phone number and we have these conversations. So anybody, want to chat about snakes, hit us up. We love talking snakes, but we don't just like kind of blanket it. We don't know it all, it's just an opinion. So cool, give it. And they said,
yeah,
basically he was asking, about new genes. Should he jump on something that's new, pretty much proven, like something similar to like Pixel that's been around for a while, but not really out there like that. We have a
yeah,
couple ourselves, tragic things like that. Jump on
yeah.
something that there, but not worked, or whether they should go the route of getting something from, with all due respect, like Outback Reptiles. And I love them. They're
Yeah,
crazy. Everybody got crazy stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. We put a lot of people on.
yeah. So my advice is basically if your infrastructure is in play, and that's, totality of circumstances, that's funding, you already got money
Yeah,
coming in on a monthly, week, whatever, you can take care of yourself, your family, the whole 9 yards. You're not worried about
yeah,
hobby taking care of anything. You have awesome feeders, whatever. All of that is dealing with your infrastructure. So if none of that
hmm,
is an issue, and you see something on Outback, 2 or 3 things, by all means, I would say jump on that.
yeah,
Because in my opinion, it's about 2 levels of new genes. Something that's been
hmm,
coined, branded, named, worked, and it's just not out there, like the level of Pixel, and then something brand
yeah, like
spanking new, fresh out of
yeah,
Africa that you gotta work and fine tune and figure out how it works. Problem with
yeah,
that new breeder, and it's only my opinion, you don't hit a milestone and hand it over to somebody else. It's like, okay,
nah,
cool. It don't matter what you spend on it. It could be $100, it could be $1,000. If it proves to be a new recessive, a new incomplete dominant, you don't prove it out year 1 or 2, and turn around and sell everything that are not going to necessarily need. Keep 1 or 2 and keep moving, because everybody you done moved that new gene to is now going to pass you up. And that's not an
yep,
issue of necessarily passing you up, but you're passing your entire project on. You have
yeah,
to put yourself in a situation where everything you produce from that, you're going to keep and hold it and figure
yeah,
out the
yeah. And
borderline, you're going to keep everything.
I 100% agree with you. In that type of situation, um, I would tell someone working with a new gene, like you say, whether it's brand new or it's just a very rare gene,
Right.
um, you gotta have the mindset of this has nothing to do with my business,
Yep.
because you working that project is not going to become part of your business to down the line.
Right.
I personally feel like it will take 3 to 6 years before you start producing things that will be a contribution to the business.
Right.
Um, but for those 3 to 6 years of you working at Gene, um, it's just virtually you and your creativity. You know,
Absolutely.
it's,
Absolutely.
and
1,000%.
yeah, because
1,000%.
like even with the Pixel, I'm not even expecting to produce anything that I would want to sell. for another 5 to 6 years.
Right.
You know, if you look at Cosmos,
Mhm.
Cosmos was very strategically marketed. It was made non-available for a long time. I mean, the gene been out for forever. You know,
Right.
it's been out for a while, but it wasn't available. You know,
Yep.
cause you just couldn't go nowhere and get it, right? And that rarity kept the value with the gene up to the point that things started to be produced that now match that value as well.
Right.
So now, when Cosmos first came out, and it's just a single incomplete dominant, 20,000 for a single incomplete dominant was like, woo, I mean, unless you was on that level, right?
Right.
But now that we're seeing things, it's like 20,000 for a Cosmos clown, start to seem more reasonable,
Right.
like, all right, I'm interested,
Most people play that game, they want to see if that gene is going to kind of, I know Darren can understand and relate. Is that going to catch? Is that just a gene that's just going to come flop and, hit or miss and gone? Or is it going to really, really stick? I think people play that game to try to figure out.
Whether it's going to flop or it's going to be a hit. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
No, that's true because that
Absolutely.
happened with the stranger. Stranger was considered
Stranger, yeah.
mahogany and some other genes for a long time,
Yeah,
but it was still going.
Yeah,
You jumped in the project, you jumped in it at the right time.
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
And you got to follow those trends too to see how these genes are being rolled out. You don't necessarily have to mirror it exactly, but you want to pay attention to it. And every single relatively recent, history that's been rolled out properly, whether we like it or not, because of the price points. I mean, when you see that price drop, and once it comes, under 1,000, under $500 for a single gene of whatever, I mean, and you figure out, man, that gene's been on the market 12 years, and you're like, I mean, it's kind of been done right, if it was
a good run.
20 grand 12 years ago, and now it's $500. It's had an awesome run, but you're still pulling great combos that's yielding still great revenue with certain combinations. You got to push it. We deal with the same thing, clown pie. We go out there, I love the combo. We got a lot of base girls now that are clown pie, but we spent $7 grand on a clown pie a little over a year.
500 now.
Yeah, but it's like, and we look at it like that. It's like we were trying to get exactly what we needed at that time and move forward. Now they're 500.
Yeah.
The difference is you still have some high dollar clown pies, whatever high dollar market with certain combinations you got to start throwing in there. So
exactly, and that's my philosophy. Is sometimes I hear other breeders complain about price drops. With combos or a specific gene, and their dissatisfaction. And I tell them it's a way to fix that.
It is.
It's a way to fix that. Be creative. Get some incomplete dominance in that combo.
Yeah.
You can turn that $2,000 combo back into a $10,000 combo. But if you just mass producing, then you can expect price drops is part of the industry. It's part of everything.
I mean, think about it. It's in every single industry.
Yeah.
If you have a 1990 Honda Civic with 400 million miles on it, what do you think that's going to cost today? You know what I'm saying?
Guess what it was like about 2 years ago when the PlayStation 5 came out, right?
Oh, yeah.
People was paying astronomical numbers to get one first.
1,000, 15, $2 grand. You're like, what?
Now you go to a pawn shop and get one, it'll come with a pack of cigarettes and some free shoes. They virtually almost give it to you, right? So I mean that's just the nature of any industry that's involved in sales. Is that things gonna get cheaper as they get produced more, right? But
that's true.
It's a way to fix that. There's always a way to fix that, Creativity is my answer to repairing those price drops, Let's get them combinations hot again.
Yeah.
And man. I mean, look at Calico, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember where it was like Calico was like a gene nobody even bothered to talk about, right?
Right.
And
It's because
then
Calico had that sugar, and then everybody's thinking that it's two different
yeah,
genes. I still don't
yeah, it
know
was
if
like
they're two different genes
yeah,
because
like
we thought fusion
man,
and acid were the same genes, and they're two different genes. So it's like,
exactly,
what do I
right?
believe? I'll just wait for the test to come out. But until then, I got
But
sugar.
look what happened with the bonfire and the campfire.
Oh
Right.
It
yeah,
brought people attention back to Calico,
yeah,
right? They start seeing how it can bring in those burnt oranges and those bright oranges. Now,
Right.
they put it with the scrambler. Seeing
Mm-hmm.
it
yeah.
turn the oranges up on that. Now it's a desirable gene.
Well,
We
because
putting it
if you
into
notice,
sunset. We putting it into
by
more high end combos. You
by
know?
itself, it is an orange gene when you even have it in a heterozygous form of
Yeah,
being with an incomplete, I mean, with a recessive trait, right? So
Right.
what I've
yeah.
noticed is adding it into lavender, that those babies that come out that are het for lavender, their
Hmm.
orange is a bright orange. And I did the same thing with candy, and it was kind of
Yeah,
crazy, but you're seeing it now. IKG did one with the het monsoon in it. So shout
yeah,
us out to him.
yeah,
He's coming out soon. And those
Yeah.
yeah,
babies that are calico look crazy.
yeah. And I mean, we seen it with red stripe.
Yep.
Red
Yep.
stripe was another gene that like people was kind of like,
People had that
yeah,
on the show for a while. They had that
yeah.
on the show.
Justin did the Pompeii, man.
Mhm.
You had the mail order a red stripe. I mean, you couldn't get one from nowhere. You know what I
Red
mean?
Stripe sat on the shelf for a long time. Red
Yep.
Stripe was
Yeah.
out there. Nobody was even messing with it. But you do one
Yeah.
thing with it. That's
That's
it.
it goes. You know,
Yep.
I talked to some of the older guys that been
They had
around
to
for a
give
while,
that away. They had to give
and they
these
be
people.
telling me, they be like, man, listen, I remember I couldn't give a Desert Ghost away.
Mhm.
Man, I'm talking about, man, I would try to sell the Desert Ghost and put a pair of free socks with it. Man, when nobody wants the thing. You
Said
know,
pair of
they'll
free
take the
socks.
socks and leave the snake, you know? Yeah. He said now, you know, it peaked and went somewhere else. You know, we see a little decline now with just the Desert Ghost clowns, but
Right.
it'll come back. It'll
Yeah.
come back.
Yep.
Yep.
It'll come back.
Keep working
It'll
it.
come back.
You got to take that.
Somebody
It's
will be creative, and
Absolutely.
that one
and they'll
combo.
show the
That
rest
one
of the
combo.
world a reason to pay attention.
Right.
That
You
one
know.
Hey
combo brings
guys,
a
we got
gene back.
Charlie in the comments as well, man. He's one of the most personable people that you can work with and extremely humble. So if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
either get some of them sheds tested, you need to send
Yeah.
them in to
Yep.
shedtesting.com. Hit Charlie up. He give you the best
yeah.
rate. Like I said, his communication back and forth with you is on a whole nother level. He's just the best man for the job. So, and he
Yeah.
sponsors the channel. We love what he's doing. Go support shedtesting.com.
Yeah, shout out Charlie, man. I need you and Ben to get together, get this monsoon test out here, man.
Who you talking
I'm
to?
telling you,
Yes,
man,
we
you
were
all
on
messing up my
that
blood pressure. You know?
game on it for a minute. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
man.
We got a bunch
Y'all
of
got
those.
me. Man, I'm waiting on that test, man. Y'all got me out here, man. I'm almost pre-diabetic, man, trying to wait on that test. You know? Show enough, man.
Just you told
Pre-diabetic
you.
wait.
Hey,
You sure it's not the age?
I need that, man. I need them to put that thing down on ground. You
Oh
know?
my gosh.
Sure enough, man.
Dude.
Yeah, I got a lot of. I love the monsoon project.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm in it. I'm going through my head phase because
Mhm.
as some projects you can't go out and buy nothing. You gotta make
Yeah.
it yourself. You know. So
Yeah.
I'm going through my head phase. Within this year, this season, I should be start producing my first visuals.
Okay.
Um, so
Okay.
I've seen a lot of those
yeah,
people
we
out
we
there, bro.
we 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 doing monsoon everything.
That's what I'm talking
Yep.
about. We
So
skipped out on
with the
visual.
hypo, with the clown,
Yep.
um,
Hyper. All right. Yep.
we're doing with the hypo, the clown, with the exantic. Um,
Yep.
hopefully, I think I produced a quad. I'm just waiting for the shed test to come back to see if the other genes are there.
Okay.
If so, then I may be blessed with monsoon exantic clown pie.
Oh wow.
Oh, see, I want to do the
Yeah,
monsoon exanthic clown hypo. And the only reason why is
Like the
because I think
monsoon
with the
fruit goes.
pied,
Yeah,
with the pied, it kind of looks like the pinstripe pied in a way to me. You know,
yeah.
Right.
seeing that with that combo, it's kind of
Well,
like
the
I
ones
want to
I've
see what it's gonna
seen,
do.
I've only seen the ones that what's his name up in Canada produced with
Oh,
Billy.
Austin, Austin,
Yeah,
yeah,
what
Austin.
Austin produced. So I
yep.
know that he had Phantom and Pastel in a couple of the combos, and then I think Brad Boy produced one,
Our
but it was
partner,
like
Mhm.
real high white,
Yeah.
yep.
but you was able to see some of the pattern along the neck, right?
Hmm.
So the question to me was if we can get a gene in there, like
Leopard,
Enchi that works amazing with Monsoon,
leopard,
right? And
leopard. I'm
or
telling you,
Leopard, you
yes.
know. But if we can get some more pattern on that stick, I think we can actually see. There's a
Hmm.
possibility of seeing that monsoon pattern on the pod.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that can really happen.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's
Leopard
Definitely.
just
does
just a
well with
matter
pastel
of
strains
tinkering
on
around with
Classic
it, you know.
Monsoon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I feel you. That's what we're trying to pull Inchi along with our monsoon pie program project. So we
Yeah.
getting there a bunch of
How does the
heads
monsoon
and
look?
projects.
How
Hmm?
does the monsoon look with Inchi?
I haven't seen
It opens the pattern up, man. Man, listen. If there's any other codom right now that I think that needs to get into monsoon, it's Inchi.
it.
If you look at the Inchi monsoon, the pattern is much more distinguishable. Is more open, so you can see more of what it is that you're trying to do with it, right?
Who produced
Uh,
one?
I, I I can't remember who produced one, but I know I seen it on Morph Market. If you look on Morph Market, you'll see. I think somebody did like a super Inchi Mojave monsoon.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, let's see
but
it. Let's
man,
see
that
it.
pattern wide open. I mean, wide open, man. It's not
Yeah.
tight like your typical monsoon pattern. Um, and I think that being able to open the pattern up like that will allow us to visually be able to put in the things, more things that we want to. Um,
Okay.
yeah, all right. So yeah, that's the Inchi lesson right there.
That's
So
the
you
Inchi.
see how the dark portions of the pattern is open opposed to being more like a pinstripes look.
Right.
Yep.
Um, so it opens
Yep.
that pattern up like that, and it allows for more contrast. You know, for you to be able to build more contrast, more
Yeah.
color tones. It's still a whole lot of room, man. I'm back when everyone was saying that monsoon is a gene that we need to just focus on colors and not the pattern because you can't
Right.
do nothing with the pattern. I was a total disbeliever. I was a total disbeliever. At that point, I was already like, nah, it's something we can do. We just haven't done it yet. Like we can do something.
That's
We just yeah, like we haven't even exhausted 25% of the things that we can do. How can we come to this conclusion? You know?
Right.
yep.
Yeah, like
And
it's
we do
literally
have
the only
to
thing in Monsoon is Mojave, Lesser, Special. Um, well, Mojave, Lesser, Special, Leopard,
special
Inky.
and
You
phantom.
know,
Yep.
somebody got Wookiee in there, Pastel, but we haven't
Super
put a
Inchi.
lot of things in it. So we can't come to the
Oh,
conclusion of what it won't and will do.
that's the
But
KG
yeah,
thing.
like
That's the one they talked about that had KG at the head.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I see it. Yeah.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. But yeah, but look how I mean, and this has lesser in it. You know, just
Right.
imagine taking that lesser out, but look how open that pattern is.
Oh yeah.
It would
You
less
know,
make it less
yeah,
that brown color. Take out the yellow.
it's a lot more easily interpreted with the eyes. You know,
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
with that pattern being open like that, and it's still something we never saw before with any other ball python combination. You know, as far as that pattern. So man, it's and then we seen what clown can do to it. With the well, I think they produced the was it the lesser GHI clown monsoon. I think that Iris produced.
Right.
Um,
Did he? Oh
yeah,
yeah,
and then, I
no, he
mean
did
that
make that. He did make
yeah,
that. That
man,
was the
that
first
pattern
clown
was
that we seen in the monsoon.
well
Hmm.
the fire clown monsoon was the first. That was the one
Okay.
that they produced. That well they didn't they produced it, but they didn't mean to. You know,
Mm.
it just popped out. So their first monsoon was a fire clown monsoon, and they just recently this year produced a male. So they just finally reproduced the male. But yeah, man, it's so much rump still. We ain't got no idea all the things we can do with Monsoon yet.
Oh
You
yeah.
know?
That's with
Yeah.
everything. I mean, I think a
I was
lot
about
of
to say
people
that's
say they
everything.
want a
That's
small
across the
body.
board.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
small
yeah. No,
body
no, no, true
combo.
talk.
They're like, man, we did this with it. That's it. We're done. You know.
Yeah. I can't wait to play with, man, some of these combos, man, just to see, you know.
You know what? I can't wait. This is the thing too. Is that it seems like it goes further when the gene is more affordable. You start seeing different ideas with these animals, right?
Mhm.
With these
Mhm.
combos. So even when Clown turned around and dropped in price, you're starting to see other people do other things with it. So once Monsoon kind of goes down a little bit, we're gonna start seeing other
Yeah,
things that
we'll see
other
more
people didn't
people
really
working
think
with it.
about. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fellas, I'm sorry, man. I gotta cut this interview short.
Go
Like,
ahead. Go
you
ahead.
know,
That's good. It
I'm
ain't
currently at
straight
work,
hour.
so
You already know,
I
man.
got
It's been an
I got a
hour.
lot of people waiting on me. You know.
Nope, you're good. You're
You know
good.
it, man. We're
um,
gonna bring it back up for another part.
yeah, man. Please, man. I look forward to it, man. I
Yeah,
look forward to
absolutely.
it. I
Definitely
very
will.
much enjoyed the conversation.
Ab-
Hearing other people's ideas, man. Y'all get my wheels spinning, man. Get me
You
thinking
know
about
it.
some new things. You
You
know.
know it. And next we're
Yeah,
gonna jump
yeah.
into that collection and talk about different combos and things you done hit and holdbacks. So
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, definitely, man. I'll be excited to talk about it.
Let's
You
go.
know.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Well, you know
you
your
definitely
thing,
want
bro.
to
We
hear some of
appreciate
yours,
you.
man. I,
Absolutely.
I I heard you and Audrey got that secret other room. You know, yeah, yeah, y'all on y'all Justin thing now. Y'all got that other
Nah,
room. Yeah, where the combos be at, man.
Eh,
Yeah, I'm trying to come
still
down
absolutely.
and
got six
visit the
more racks we
other
ain't
room.
telling you about. I'm just putting it
Yeah,
out there right now. He got
yeah.
6 more racks.
See, we don't even know he already got the monsoon pie. You
Oh,
know,
bull crap.
that's in the other room. You know.
We
Yeah,
appreciate
fellas, man.
you.
But definitely, man, please invite me back, man. I
Oh
definitely look
yeah,
Yep,
forward to it.
definitely will.
absolutely, definitely,
All
definitely,
right.
definitely. Go ahead, get back to work, bro. We appreciate you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
All right, man.
All right,
Y'all fellas have a good one, man. Have a great season, man. Man, keep it creative, keep it competitive, man.
We surely
absolutely.
will.
All
Have a
right,
good one.
man. All right,
Later.
thank you everybody for logging on, watching, man.
You
Love
know
for
it.
more for us.
You know it. Hey guys, so we're going to end this show this weekend. It's a little short one this Sunday, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I did. We didn't get to
I did. It was
half
cool.
of our questions that we
Yeah.
had on the plate, so we definitely gonna bring Clarence back on. He was extremely comfortable and genuine.
Yeah.
Definitely want to pick his brain on his creativity side on what he's planning to do and talk more about his collection. We're talking pretty much about the genetics and direction of what new breeders should be looking for getting in and your expectations for the most part and talking about new genes. So we have tons more to kind of talk about when we bring them back for part 2. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Sunday. I'm going to go get me some grub and we're going to start wrapping it up. So
Yep. Definitely.
definitely we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We'll post on Instagram who we're gonna bring on next. I'm not sure. And enjoy your
I
Sunday.
got a couple people in mind who's gonna probably be the next 2 weeks, which reaching
Bet.
out to them, figuring out what's going on.
Bet. So we're
Cool.
gonna line our schedule up and we're gonna put it out and we'll see you guys or you'll see us in 2 weeks. Later, guys.